Rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I seek refuge in God from Satan the rejected. Brothers and sisters, welcome again to another Quran study. We will be reading from chapter 11, verse 89. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. And, O my people, do not be provoked by your opposition to me into incurring the same disaster as the people of Noah, or the people of Hud, or the people of Saleh, and the people of Lot are not too far from you. You shall implore your Lord for forgiveness, then repent to him. My Lord is most merciful, kind. What I want to say actually about the people that came before us, right? Like God is giving the example of Noah, of the people of Saleh, Hud, and also the people of Lut. Um, Throughout the whole Quran, we can see the stories, what these people have done, and most of them, when God sent a messenger, they rejected the messenger, right? They told to the rejected that they didn't accept it. They wanted to see these miracles. And even if they have seen those miracles, they still ignored it and they didn't accept it. And eventually, uh, every time when a messenger is not accepted, and every time when people are not accepting the message of God and repenting, always a disaster comes, right? um, we can see this throughout the whole Quran. So um, the last messenger that we know of is Dr. Rashad, and he came with a miracle, right? And he came with the message unifying, all religions, and then giving us all the information that we need to understand the total concept of why we are here, what we are doing, what is awaiting us. And with all that information, we can see now that most of the people, they didn't accept submission. They didn't accept the message that Dr. Rashad brought. And he also made these videos where he, invited the leaders of these countries and the leaders of these religions to, repent and then come to submission. And because they didn't do that, that's why also this people, like it's still the same generation. That's one of the things, yeah. So most people think because the messenger is no longer here, that and a huge disaster didn't happen, they think it's not going to happen anyways. But we know, of course, from what is going to happen in the future, that disaster is coming, and this is very like. It's not a surprise actually, right? It's not something that we would say, okay, like we are so shocked, why is this happening? Like we can clearly see why it's happening. It's because these people, they reject the message, they reject the miracle, and they reject repenting, and keep on doing what they're doing. And we can clearly see how the world is today, where it's heading. So many people are being killed. There are so many bad things going on in this world. You have so many people that are divorced. You have people who have gay people. You have these pride things going on. The media, it's like very chaotic and very bad actually. This also proves the incompetence of the devil, right? Like the whole point of the devil was to be some kind of a god in this world, and he wants this world to be very good place for his substituents, right? But we can clearly see that it's not. It's like a very bad place, and he proves actually that he can't be a god, and only God can be God. 91. They said, "O Shu'aib, we do not comprehend many of the things you are telling us, and we see that you are powerless among us. If it were not for your tribe, we would have stoned you. You have no value for us." He said, "O my people, does my tribe command a greater respect than God? Is this why you have been heedless of him? My Lord is fully aware of everything you do. O my people, go on doing what you wish, and so will I. You will certainly find out which of us will incur shameful retribution. You will find out who the liar is. Just wait in anticipation, and I will wait in anticipation along with you." When our judgment came, we saved Shuaib and those who believed with him by mercy from us. As for the evil ones, they were struck by a disaster that left them dead in their homes. It was as though they never existed. Thus, Midian perished just like Talmud had perished before that. So, like I said, throughout the whole Quran, God gives us these examples, right? And we can see here that when God sent Shuaib to these people, they are just clearly saying that they don't understand, they don't want to understand, they don't want to accept the message, and they are like, they are telling him that they would have stoned him if he wasn't for his, like, if he was not a part of that tribe. Probably at that time you had these tribes, and that was the way of protecting yourself, and every person had his own tribe, and then there was this some kind of a relation or some kind of a law that they had created, that you can't just kill someone from another tribe, right? Probably that was the case, and they're saying like, okay, if you were not from that tribe, then we would have stoned you. And like Shuaib is giving them answers, like he's saying, like, how can you think, does my tribe command a greater respect than God? Like, I am sent by God, the creator of the heavens and the universe, like the most powerful being in the universe ever. Like, how can you not be afraid of him and not stone me, or like not punish me because of like a tribe that will vanish eventually, right? And we can see that, and that's actually also what happened. So he says eventually, after giving the message to his people, telling them and advocating everything, like the messenger of the covenant did, their job is to deliver the message that God has given to them. And, the message is very clear. And similarly, when God sends a messenger, it is a way of proving that those messengers are truly sent by God. He gives them these miracles. And, and then they perform these miracles, but again, those people, they don't listen, they don't accept the message, and eventually they end up having or being or incurring this shameful retribution, like it says in the verse. And he says, you will certainly find out which of us will incur shameful retribution. You will find out who the liar is. And soon after that, God says, um, as for the evil ones, they were struck by a disaster that left them dead in their homes. It was as though they never existed. Like, this is a really powerful sentence, right? Like, what type of a destruction or disaster it was, that after that it was as though they never existed. God is capable of doing that, right? And we can also see in other examples where God punishes these people, and then many years later we can see with the archaeological findings what type of a disaster that happened. This was the people of Lot, right? God kept their bodies, and he also says this in the Quran, right? He says, like, to be an example for the future generations, and it is indeed a good example. But most people, of course, they don't take heed, they don't care, they don't really believe in it. That's also one of the tricks that Satan has. There are so many things that happened before us or is going to happen that people just, they can't imagine that this type of things happened before or will happen again. And that's why they are in the verse it says, right, that it's going to be a shock for them. They're going to be shocked. It's going to come suddenly to them in a way that they never expected. Like, even if you would tell them, listen, if you guys go on like this, if you don't repent and if you don't go into submission, a disaster will come. It doesn't matter how many times you tell this to them or show the evidence, they are not going to believe it. Like, eventually now, what is going to happen in 2029, when Apophis is going to hit, it's going to be a shock for the whole world. Only a few people who believes in this and who knows and who will be prepared for it, and the ones who are going to be saved by God, the true believers, for those, it's not going to be a shock. For us also, like, we know that's going to happen because of all the evidences and all the signs that we have seen, right? And when you connect all these dots together, it makes really sense. Like, what else would the messenger of God, what else could he do, right? Like, his job was to deliver the message, to tell them, to give this information about what is going to happen, tell them what the way of um, um, what the right way is, right, to be saved, to how to save your soul. And he sent this through the whole world. And he eventually also went to like every Muslim country, right? He visited every Muslim country. He had um, all these places where he went. He told the people about the message and about the miracle of 19, about everything that he was supposed to do. He did, but these people, they just didn't believe. And we can see also in these verses as an example what happens if you don't accept the message, and they deserve it, right? It's like, because God is not going to punish if you don't deserve it. 96. We sent Moses with our signs and a profound authority to Pharaoh and his elders, but they followed the command of Pharaoh, and Pharaoh's command was not wise. He will lead his people on the day of resurrection. He will lead his people on the day of resurrection all the way to hell. What a miserable abode to live in. Yeah, like if you choose to be guided by Pharaoh, by like the devil, by someone who is bad, and God says it wasn't a wise command, right? A person who thinks that he is God, a person that he thinks that he has power, and you next to that person, following his command, and mostly I think because of the wealth, of course, that it comes with. In other words, we can read about this situation where Pharaoh promises a very high status if someone would defeat Moses, right? In this game, let's say, or the thing that is going to happen, and all these magicians trying to be close to the Pharaoh because he has so much power, or he's like a lot of wealth, and he has the highest status at that point. But of course, God is the creator of the heavens and the universe. He controls everything. And these people, they just don't care about that because they don't believe in it. Even after all these miracles, of course, they still don't believe in it. And God tells what is going to happen. He says he will lead his people on the day of resurrection all the way to hell. So what does this say to us, right? Like this tells us that, when it's about your soul, when your hereafter, your eternal life is at stake, you shouldn't just believe someone, you shouldn't just follow someone. And this can be someone on YouTube, on the TV, it can be a imam in a mosque, or most of the time a lot of people, they just follow these imams, the clergymen, the sheikhs, people who trick people into believing them by so-called doing strange things. Like I know so many people in my family, like all around me, they just follow these people blindly. And I don't see any difference in Pharaoh, leading his people to hell, and all these other people leading all the other people into hell, right? So it's very important to not follow just someone. There should be. And in one case, when you think about it, on this side you have a messenger sent by God, telling people to leave everything that is invented, follow only the Quran, nothing but the Quran, and he doesn't want anything for himself, and he is asking the people to go to God, like to come closer to God. He is promoting God. He's not promoting himself, or he's not. He doesn't want any money. He doesn't have a company where he wants people to send money to and be popular, and like he isn't doing all these things. He came with one of the greatest miracles, the miracle of 19, which proves all the miracles which are in the Quran, right? So when you read the Quran in that way, knowing the miracle of 19, you are actually an eyewitness at that moment. For example, when there is a verse in the Quran where God says, okay, Moses threw the staff and the staff became a creature, or, the sea was opened and they could walk there, and, he showed his hand, it was white, or when Jesus, when someone was dead and he was alive again. So all these things that we are reading, since we are reading with the knowledge of the miracle of 19, it's like we are there at the moment. When you read it, you are really there. You see it with your own eyes. Like it has this type of a amazing intellectual meaning, right? It's not that simple. It's actually simple, but in a way, when you think of how this miracle really works, is, there is the sentence where it says that the dead person became alive again. So it's a sentence, but when you know behind it, there is this mathematical miracle of 19 that makes you truly understand and truly believe in it. We know that it happened. It's not like something we don't believe on it. We really know that it happened. And everything that we read in the Quran, like it's that type of a strong connection with the miracle. He says, they have incurred condemnation in this life as well as on the day of resurrection. What a miserable path to follow. Lessons to be learned. This is the news from the past communities that we narrate to you. Some are still standing and some have vanished. Some have vanished as if they never existed, right? Like that is the power of God. If you want something, He can just do it. We never wronged them. They wronged their own souls. Their gods, whom they invoked beside God, could not help them in the least when the judgment of your Lord came. In fact, they only ensured their doom. Yeah, like what could Pharaoh do, right? When the disaster came, what could he do? He couldn't even save himself. So imagine the people who were following Pharaoh at that moment. Like what were they thinking? How would they think at that moment? If I was that person and I was like following Pharaoh and the disaster hit, like that would be a moment when I would truly understand. Okay, this Pharaoh was actually nothing. He can't even save himself. Like it's just a human being. He's going to be drowned or he's going to be dead in moments, right? Like and yeah, that happens if you don't follow the message of God or the messengers that God has sent. Such was the retribution enforced by your Lord when the communities transgressed. Indeed, his retribution is painful, devastating. Yeah, and again, we see here, right? God is reminding us that if you are a community that is transgressing, and today we can see that throughout the whole world, like when you look at all these countries, the leaders of these countries, things that are happening today in this world, why is that different than before? Why is some of the leaders of today different than Pharaoh or any other leader, that was a bad leader, a bad person, who thought that they have power, who thought that they could do anything that they wanted? um, right, like why should that be different? And if all these communities that were transgressing and these communities were bad communities, if all of them um, uh, got this retribution, which God says, indeed, his retribution is painful and devastating. So we can expect the same for the community of today who is rejecting the miracle of 19, who rejected the messenger of the covenant, who rejected this whole message, right? And they keep doing all these bad things still. And one of the most other important thing is that when there is a community, God would not bring retribution to them if he didn't send a messenger. So only to a community which God has sent a messenger, and those people, they didn't accept the message and they kept, they were transgressing. Only those people, they get this retribution. Because God says, if I don't send the messenger, then you don't have to expect a retribution, because no messenger is being sent to that community. And when you look at this community of today, to the whole world, the messenger of the covenant, he came. Like we have all these videos of him, right? We can show this. And he made these videos and he sent it to the leaders of the world. They just ignored it. They didn't accept it. This should be a lesson for those who fear the retribution of the hereafter. That is a day when all the people will be summoned, a day to be witnessed. We have appointed a specific time for it to take place, a specific time. And, this time, again, the messenger of the covenant has explained to us with all the evidences and with all the signs. It is not a secret, actually. And God chose to put this information in the Quran. And we know when it's going to happen. And this was not, The idea, this was not an opinion of the messenger of the covenant. This is a fact, and this fact comes from God. The day it comes to pass, no soul will utter a single word except in accordance with his will. Some will be miserable and some will be happy. As for the miserable ones, they will be in hell, wherein they sigh and wail. Eternally they abide therein, for as long as the heavens and the earth endure, in accordance with the will of your Lord. Your Lord is doer of whatever he wills. So this is also one of the misleading information that the devil has given to the people, thinking that, for example, um, for the believers, that hell is not for eternity. And most of the people think, like, you have this throughout the Christians, the Jews, the Muslims, like almost all of these people who believe in the hereafter, who believe in heaven and hell, all of them, they think that, they are going to die as believers. And since they have died as believers, uh, when they have sinned, they will go to hell for a certain time, right? For a period of a time, and then it will burn them, or they will have this retribution. And after that, they will eventually end up in heaven. This is a huge trick that the devil played, and he tricked all these people. So those people, they don't mind sinning. They think, yeah, like, I'm eventually gonna go to heaven, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to stay maybe in hell for 1,000 years, but since it's going to end, it doesn't really matter. I can do whatever I want in this world. I say that I believe in God. I say that I believe in Muhammad or Jesus, right? Like Christians, they say Jesus, the Savior. The Mohammedans, they say Muhammad is going to save me from hell. That type of ideas that the people have. And with that, they think that hell is not eternal for them. But we learn from the Quran that hell, when you enter hell, there is no going back. The doors of hell will close for eternity. So when you end up in hell, you can't be saved. Muhammad is not going to save you, or Jesus, or any other person. They can't save you. This is the system of God, all right? Like, you had your chance in this world before the end of your days. You had the chance to repent, the chance to, accept submission, accept God as the one and only God, and follow his commandments. And if you didn't do that, and you wasted your opportunity in this world, then yeah, there is no other place. And this is, of course, because you have deserved it, right? And hell is a place which is the farthest away from God. So you were running away from God towards hell. It's something that you yourself wanted to happen. Yeah, and it's already late for all these souls that came to this world and they died. Yeah, they wasted their time. And we are still alive. So for us, there is still hope. There is still time for us to repent and then, to follow all these commandments so we can be saved with the help of God. But again, thinking that hell is not eternal is a big trick of the devil. There is a verse in the Quran where the Jews, they say that the hellfire is going to burn them for a certain period of time, and then they will end up in heaven. But God asks them, right? He says, like, where did you get this information from? Like, who told you that hell is going to be for a period of time, and then you're going to end up in heaven? As for the fortunate ones, they will be in paradise. Eternally they abide therein, for as long as the heavens and the earth endure, in accordance with the will of your Lord, an everlasting reward. The same counts, of course, for the paradise, right? That one is also eternal. And I wanted to say something about this word eternal, because I have heard some of the clergymen or some people, they they um, they have their own ideas, own interpretations of the verses. One of them said, actually, like, when God says eternal, he doesn't really mean eternal, because only God is eternal. right? And he said that, for example, when you say, I am going to stay in this room for eternity, you don't really mean eternity at that moment, right? You mean as long as this room exists and as long as I am alive, I am going to stay in this room. And that type of interpretations are being given, but that is not true. The truth is that when God says eternally, it is really eternal, like forever. It's not going to end. Because if it was the other way around, if it was not eternal, God would say, openly, you're going to stay for 1,000 years in heaven or hell, or like a few billion years, maybe, who knows, right? But that's not the case. It's very clear that God says it's eternal. And so from the moment that you are being created, you have a eternal life. Either it's going to be in paradise or it's going to be in hell. So it's a very serious situation. This is really serious. Like, it's not a game. And God says this also in the Quran. He says this world, this life in this world, it's not a game. It's a serious matter, and everyone needs to take it very seriously and live accordingly. Because if you don't, since we also don't know when we are going to die, right? We don't know. Maybe it's tomorrow, maybe after a month, or maybe after a few years. We don't know when we are going to die. So every opportunity that we have to follow God's commandments and to repent, we should, use that moment and use the opportunity to do that. Yeah, it's like really clear as well, right? You say, in accordance with the will of your Lord, an everlasting reward, everlasting reward. So it's eternal. Yeah, so for the ones who are gonna make it to heaven, to paradise, of course, it's like the best news actually, right? Like, um, imagine, um, you see this amazing place. It's like really amazing. Everything is there that you ever wanted. It's like the best place that you ever have seen in your life, right? And someone comes to you and says, listen, you can enjoy this place for like one day or like 2 days, right? Or like for a week. But this is this amazing place. Like, you never ever in your life, you've never seen something like this. It's like the best place. You can stay there for 1,000,000 years, and you can see that clearly. And then someone comes and gives you the information. He says, listen, man, I have good news. Okay, what's the news? Yeah, you can stay here forever. Like, can you imagine how, when you think about it, this amazing place, the closest to God, and God also gives us descriptions about the paradise, right? He tells us what type of a place that is. Of course, we can't really imagine exactly, because it's a different world, a different place than that we can imagine from this world, from our perspective. But at least it gives us this idea of it's an amazing place, paradise. And someone coming and telling you, listen, this is not for 1 year or for a few years. It's like for eternity. That's the best news that you can get if you will make it to paradise. And it's the other way around, right? When you go to hell, and then someone comes and tells you, listen, man, you're going to be here forever. It's not going to end. Forever you will be here. So, and that's the worst thing that you can hear for yourself. Yeah, it's really a thing. Following our parents blindly, a great human tragedy. 109. Do not have any doubt regarding what these people worship. They worship exactly as they found their parents worshiping. We will requite them their due share fully without reduction. This is also something that I have heard a lot of times from a lot of people. When you ask them about it, and I specifically asked them, and I heard most of the times the same sentence. Like, they say, yeah, like we have learned this from our parents, and we are just we're following their footsteps. But God says, like, don't follow your parents blindly. Don't do that, because your parents, they are maybe Muslim, some other parents are Christian, some other parents are Hindu. Like, there are so many different type of religions, and people are following different things. They have different religions. So if that's your method of following the truth, then everyone has their own truth, right? If you think that your religion is the right religion because your parents told you that, well, the other person's parents also told that their religion is the right religion and their truth is the right truth. So it doesn't really make sense. So God always tells us to use our minds, to be thoughtful, and don't just blindly follow your parents or someone else. Like the people followed Pharaoh and they ended up uh, being destined to hell. We have given Moses the scripture, but it was disputed. And if it were not for a predetermined word decreed by your Lord, they would have been judged immediately. They are full of doubt about this, suspicious. Yeah, and God gives time, right? He sends a messenger. He gives time to the people to think, to make a decision, right? It doesn't just happen like that because it's not the system of God. It takes time, right? Especially, for example, with the example of the message of the covenant, uh, when he came up with the miracle 19, the world had time to look at it, and most of the people, they accepted this miracle in the beginning. They were so happy. This was a evidence for them to show to the non-believers, to the atheists, right? They were so proud of it. They were saying, look, even the computer is saying that this book is the word of God. They were so proud of it and they were following it. They were accepting it. They were really happy with the message of the covenant. They invited him. He was in a time also like one of the advisors of Gaddafi, right? So this shows that they really respected him at that time because he was the one who found the miracle. And I hear sometimes people saying, "Yeah, but this miracle. What is the evidence that Dr. Rashad found it? The miracle of 19. Maybe it was someone else. This and that. Like if it was someone else, like it's clear that those people would make it very clear that it wasn't Dr. Rashad. But they accepted him in the beginning." And when the messenger came and told them, listen, you should only follow the Quran and nothing but the Quran, and when he said that he was a messenger of God, sent by God, they rejected him because of their egos, of course. So God gives people the time, to think, then, to make a decision, right? Because sometimes you really need time to understand it, to investigate, to look at the evidence, to think about it, to compare certain things. And with that, probably, and when it's your time and God knows exactly who deserves what, and then it's going to end eventually. Your Lord will surely recompense everyone for their works. He is fully cognizant of everything they do. Therefore, continue on the path you have been enjoined to follow, together with those who repented with you and do not transgress. He is here of everything you do. So God says, together with those who repented with you. This is a commandment of God. He says, therefore, continue on the path you have been enjoined to follow, together with those who repented with you and do not transgress. He is here of everything you do. Do not lean towards those who have transgressed, lest you incur hell and find no allies to help you against God. Then end up losers. This is like a clear a commandment of God, right? He says, do not lean towards those who have transgressed, lest you incur hell. So again, if you are with those people, if you are friends with them, or if you and God is talking about the transgressors, because you're gonna end up in hell with them because you chose to be with them, right? And God says that you need to be very careful about the situation. Three of the five prayers. You shall observe the contact prayer salat and both ends of the day and during the night. The righteous works wipe out the evil works. This is a reminder for those who would take heed. Chapter 11, verse 1014 is one of the verses which the Messenger of the Covenant also used to show that there are five prayers also mentioned in the Quran? Because a lot of people they say, yeah, but only three prayers are mentioned in the Quran, and they use this verse only. But there are, of course, other verses where God clearly gives us which other prayers there are. But in this case, God talks about the both ends of the day, and the messenger explains this. He says, like, you have the dawn prayer, and then you have um, the sunset prayer. So one is before the sun goes up, and the other one is after the sunset. So these are the two ends of a day. And God says during the night. So this one is after the sunset. So you have the dawn prayer, the sunset prayer, and you have the night prayer. So here we can clearly see that God only in this verse speaks about the three of the five prayers. And he says the righteous works wipe out the evil works. This is really a blessing of God, right? Like, um, as human beings, of course, we make mistakes, right? Any one of us had made mistakes. And with the mercy of God, by doing righteous works, God says this will wipe out the evil works. So it's an opportunity for us to, as long as we are alive, to do as much as righteous works as possible, because it's going to help us wipe out all these evil things that if we have done it, those will be wiped out by God. And again, this is a huge mercy of God. There are so many things when you think about how gracious and how merciful God is, looking at all these examples in the Quran and all these things that God is telling us. He's truly the most gracious, the most merciful. Like, it's really true. When someone who would read the Quran by himself, without any how to say, just by himself, right? Observe it, read it, analyze it. That person would clearly come to a conclusion that the writer of this book, who claims that he is God, that the God is extremely merciful. Clearly, with if you look at all these verses, it's a huge blessing what God has given us. You shall steadfastly persevere, for God never fails to recompense the righteous. Yeah. So with patience, of course, we need to, keep on doing the best what we can do to be righteous, to do the righteous works, to follow all these commandments, and God promises us paradise, right? But it doesn't start when we die, actually. That is also one of the huge mercies of God. And the messenger, told this. And the moment when I heard this, I was really happy when he said, because we have learned that through the imams and through our parents, that this world is a bad place for a believer. And you're going to be miserable. You're not going to have a good life. But because of all those things that you have had in this world, God is going to make it up to you, right? He's saying, okay, you're going to have a miserable life in this world. And then when you die, you're going to go to heaven. So being miserable in this life is actually a very good thing. But messenger, he also talks about this topic, and he says, like, the devil knew that he couldn't make all his constituents happy. He already knew that they're going to be miserable, so he invented this lie. Like, telling them, it's good to be miserable, because the more miserable you are in this world, the better you're going to have in the hereafter. So people being proud of being miserable, they ended up in this really weird situation, right? And I have learned this sentence when I was very young. They said, yeah, and they call them evliya, and evliya is mean like the close ally of God, a friend of God. Like those people, somehow they perform miracles, or that type of people. They say, that they are close to God. They say, yeah, when that type of a person, if they are not miserable a day, then they think that they are not doing the right thing because they don't have headaches, or they something is not okay. You know, they think, oh, why am I not miserable today? Like I should be miserable. Like the devil tricked them in a way, right? So thinking that okay, I should be miserable, I should be in a bad situation. Yeah, it's again a trick of the devil. Let me check how much. Oh, it's already 40 minutes. If only some of those among the previous generations possessed enough intelligence to forbid evil, only a few of them deserve to be saved by us. As for the transgressors, they were preoccupied with their material luxuries. They were guilty. Yeah, so again, we see here people following their desires, right? And God says, if the previous generations possessed enough intelligence to forbid evil, right? Like they think by doing these bad things, maybe it feels very good for them, right? When you have the power to kill anyone you want, or do all these bad things, most probably they think it's a good thing for them, because in reality they don't really believe in God. In reality they don't really believe in the hereafter. They don't really believe that they're going to be judged. So it's very easy for them to do all these bad things. Your Lord never annihilates any community unjustly while its people are righteous. Yeah, so your Lord never annihilates any community unjustly while its people are righteous. So when you have a people which is righteous, of course, God is not going to annihilate them unjustly, right? So this is the system of God. Why should he do that? Like, there's no reason. You have a community who's following all the commandments of God, like they will be in a very good position, in a very, everyone would be like very happy. 1018, why were we created? Had your Lord willed, all the people would have been one congregation of believers, but they will always dispute the truth. Only those blessed with mercy from your Lord will not dispute the truth. This is why he created them. The judgment of your Lord has already been issued. I will fill hell with jinns and humans all together. In the footnotes, it says, the most merciful has created us on this earth to give us yet another chance to denounce our original crime and to be redeemed. See the introduction and appendix 7. God does not put a single person in hell. They choose and insist upon going to hell. Yeah, so you would see a lot of people asking, yeah, but why did God create hell? Why didn't he just send us to heaven and we could stay there and all of this would not happen, right? Why? Why did this happen? Is he not the most merciful one? But how can he be so merciful if he's sending these souls to hell for eternity and he's like punishing them for eternity? And this, all these questions come because of the ignorance, because of the wrong information, because of the wrong idea they have about God. They don't know God. They don't know who He is. They don't know what the system is. Because of that, they are asking this type of questions, like why is God killing children, for example, right? Why do we have earthquakes or all these bad things happening in this world? And they, and because of this, you have people, they don't believe in God. They say, yeah, it's not possible because if there was God, then we wouldn't have all these bad things. And all these questions and all these ideas, they come because of the misinformation. They don't have the right information about the whole system, the whole situation. And if they would have known the truth, if they would know, then they would of course understand why all these things are happening. And that's why we see in the footnote, it says clearly God does not put a single person in hell. They choose and insist upon going to hell. The message of the covenant says, he gives the example. He says, on the day of judgment, when you see all these people, running away from God, running towards hell, then you will see, okay, these people really deserve to go to hell because they are choosing to, they are running towards hell themselves. While God, if you would follow the commandments, it would be much easier. We narrate to you enough history of the messengers to strengthen your heart. The truth has come to you herein, as well as enlightenments and reminders for the believers. So, all these things that we are reading in the Quran, these are all reminders that God, sends to us. And there is, when God gives us an example in the Quran, when He tells us the things that happened before, there is a reason for that. So we can think about it, use our minds, and then understand the situation, why things are happening. And every time when we read the Quran, we see clearly a few things each time. One is, God is very precise. He really gives all the information that we need, and it's a very good reminder. And we clearly see that it's all because of the mercy of God. He is so merciful that He's given all this information, telling us what happened before, that we need to just follow the commandments of God. Don't follow your parents. Don't follow any people just blindly. You need to use your mind, use your intellect, and make a decision, because the eternal hereafter is at stake. That's why it's important to learn as much as possible, get as much information as possible about submission and about all the things that God has sent throughout the Quran. And of course, with the message of the covenant, the miracle of 19, we also learn every day new things. So it's important to go after the information. With this, God willing, I will end. If there are any questions or any things you brothers or sisters want to add, please go ahead.
Okay, mashallah, brother. Thank you.
Mashallah.
MashaAllah, thank you.
Mashallah. Yeah, a lot of information, right? Like 2 pages only, but like so much information. Every time when I do the study, like I'm so amazed when I'm reading and thinking about the verses and about the information God is giving here. Like there is no other book like this, right? With like so 2 pages only and so much information. Really amazing. Oh yeah, by the way, on 120 it says we narrate to you enough history. God is using the word enough. We narrate to you enough history of the messengers to strengthen your hearts. The truth has come to
MashaAllah.
you
I like
here.
that verse, because to me, it, it really solidifies, like, in our hearts, on top of what we have, that the message has always been the same, since the time of Adam. It wasn't for Adam and Muhammad and the covenant. Dr. Rashad Khalifa has always been the same. Uh, and plus, we have the most accurate history, too. Um, but it's always been the same message. These messengers didn't go to these uh, uh,
Yeah, I think because of sharing the
yeah, the
screen,
messengers.
yeah, brother, go ahead.
Um, I think the message is all say to the humans, like we see in Surah 30, never would a human being say to the people idolize me beside God. Instead, he would say, devote yourselves to God alone according to the scriptures you preach and teachings you learn. And so we have so many messengers and messages, and it's one and the same. So this is really awesome.
MashaAllah, thank you for the study. Yeah, I think interesting reminders. So I wanted to add to what Brother Joffrey said about the uh, the saints, they call them, you know, um, that they say they're up to miserable. I remember like at least like in Urdu, like they frequently refer to them as like the same word that they use for beggars. You know, they say fukara, which means like
Oh,
fakir,
fukara.
which yeah. So
Hmm.
which actually also means like a beggar. You know.
It's also
So
Turkish, rather.
yeah, yeah.
Fukara, the
So
one who really is in need and has nothing and
yeah,
is just like
uh,
miserable.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So I mean, these people are also frequently referred to as fukara, or it's like synonymously, using the same term for to describe the saints as well as the beggars.
Yeah.
Also because they're asking money from people also, like,
Yeah, which is definitely like God says clearly, follow only
mhm,
those who don't ask any wage
mhm,
from you.
mhm.
Yeah, and they make like all these, these songs. They make themselves really
Uh-huh.
miserable. Really, there are
Uh-huh.
so many examples of those people doing as if they are miserable, but indeed
Mhm,
they're actually miserable. When you look at,
mhm,
when you remove all the curtains, like you look into the things with the real eyes, right?
mhm,
Um, from the right perspective, they are indeed very miserable. So, because they wouldn't be miserable if they would have followed the commandments, right? They would
mhm,
if they would have believed in it. So it makes sense that they are miserable. But the idea that you are miserable, but you don't really you don't have any clue. That's actually very bad. And thinking that you're going to make it to heaven, like that's also, can you imagine, like, you're so miserable, you're not following God, you're like following the devil, thinking that you're a good person or you're doing the right thing, but eventually you are going to be shocked when you're going to hear that you're going to go to hell when you die, right? Because that's the moment then, please correct me if I'm wrong, the verse where God says, like, when the, is it the curtain, not, it's not the curtain, when the veil, the veils
mhm,
is taken out from them, right? Like they're from their eyes, the whales are taken out from them, so they would see the truth, and at that moment, they are going to realize immediately that they were in a very bad situation, and no way going back, right?
mhm,
Yeah, it reminds me. I just watched this documentary. From the medieval period, and a lot of the uh, people, peasants, even the quote unquote nobles, they if you weren't like getting sick and bad things weren't happening to you, uh, they would usually suspect something is off, like with your belief or your religion. It was like the people who got sick, and I've seen this before, like in these documentaries, but like it was explained more in depth. But just like you were saying, they like if you got sick and came down like with diseases and stuff, they actually looked at you and as pious because you were it was akin to Christ's suffering. So that's what made you righteous back then. But it just shows how easily these people were uh, deceived. Um, you had to suffer like Jesus supposedly did, and that's what made you righteous. And if you didn't, people in the town will start talking or think something's wrong with you.
Yeah, like, when the one of the things that a lot of souls did was actually to underestimate the devil, right? That he was so tricky. So he has all these tricks, make people believe in certain things. Like I was watching this video, for example. There were this, I think it was in India. They have a period where they go outside and then do very. They have this very strange thing that they are doing with a lot of dirt, outside, and they think it's a good thing. Or you have this one I saw
With
a
dirt, you
few.
mean with the colors?
No, not the colors. Like
Oh,
it's disgusting. with
oh,
real, with real, human. What is it called? Human or
feces,
animal? Sorry.
feces.
Oh, I don't know what it is. When you go to the toilet, brother.
Yeah, feces.
Excrement.
Yeah. Oh yes, 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 yes. That one. And then I also saw one of them. They have this a palace or a place where you have mice, mice all everywhere. They're sitting there, eating, drinking with them, sleeping with them. And I don't know if you guys have seen this, but they believe that this is a holy place. That all these creatures, the mice, that these are their dead parents, or like, like it's crazy. And when you see that, how the devil tricked them believing in those things, like it's miserable. I don't know. Did you guys see it before? Did you heard about it
Mice?
in
No.
India? Oh, there's this palace in India,
Mm.
and like a lot of mice are living there, like thousands, maybe 100,000. And then people come there, and then they pray to them, and then they eat with them. These mice, they go in all these foods, and then they drink from that food and eat from it. Like, oh, it's so disgusting. Yeah. How their minds are made up. Like that's the
Mm-hmm.
one thing that comes up to me thinking
Mm-hmm.
about that. And then you can clearly see the work of the devil, right? Like, how in the world did he manage to trick these people believing in those things? Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, brother. So many things, brother. Also, they are drinking also the urine, from the the
Camel. The
yeah.
Arab.
In
The
the
Arab.
Arab also the in India also, from
Oh.
the animals. So many, yeah.
Okay.
You cannot believe so many things.
You
Yeah.
mean the Muslims?
No,
Yeah.
no, no,
Also.
The
Yeah. Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Hindus?
Also. Yes.
Hindus. I
Yes.
know.
No. 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 Muslims too.
I do not know the Muslim, but I see the Hindus. Yeah. So.
No, no, the
Oh,
Muslims, they
the
even have
Muslims
this
too.
hadith. There's a hadith
Yeah.
about this. There is a certain community that came to Medina, if I'm not mistaken, and they were ill, and the Prophet told them to drink, to eat a certain
Yeah,
thing, and
Muslims
then
are. This
Oh
is
yeah,
pretty
camel. Yeah,
famous.
yeah. Camel
yeah.
urine. Yeah, they are the hadith. Yeah, yeah. Yes.
Mhm. Yeah, that's just shows how like idol worshippers get blocked. But the
Mhm,
thing is
mhm.
that the more gross thing is the idol worship itself rather than the drinking of the tea or all of these things.
It's a result of it. It's a
Yeah,
result.
yeah. But I
Yeah,
mean,
like
yeah, but I mean the worst part is the idol worship itself because I mean it's more gross than any of these other things when
mhm,
we really think about it. I mean it's a blasphemy against God, and God says it's gross injustice.
mhm,
And how they try to ascribe all these things to God and attribute lies to God, and also how they make themselves miserable as a result of this unappreciation towards God. Yeah, but I mean this idea about being miserable, is something that Satan has also been trying to um, you know sell to the submitters, through certain groups in submission, who have people that are uh, maybe hypocrites among them, for sure, like proven, and then they're miserable, and then they're eventually like getting diseases like cancer and stuff, and then people are saying like they're righteous people and they're close to God, and this is why God has brought like similar things that we hear that we just described about these other people, like these using verses from Quran that talk about mission tests and things like that to just convolute them and try to use them for people in submission. And I mean, these are people that are obviously uh, rejecting the messenger. Also, when he talks about perfect happiness and admissions test, saying that there's no such thing. And I think we know some of those people as well. But like, I mean, we are told very clearly in the Quran, from the verses in the Quran, and from the explanations by the Messenger of the Covenant, that there's no such thing, and God promises the believers that once they pass their admissions test, that you know God guarantees
Perfect
perfect
happiness,
happiness
perfect
for these
wealth. Yeah.
people, victory in God's kingdom for the believers, makes them sovereigns on us. And, this is God's promise. They will not have any health problems. It says, you'll not even have headaches. So here he's talking about saying you'll not even have headaches. And they're talking about, no, you're going to die of cancer. And one person actually told me, and I was shocked. She said, she was with the messenger, by the way. And she said, no, she said, you know what, like, my son is, when I say that, actually, people are going to know who it is, and at least some people would know. But she said, my son, all my sons are doctors, and cancer is really on the rise. And, she said, we're all going to die of cancer. Yeah. I mean, it's so
Yeah.
sad,
Yeah.
like, for these people,
There is also
that the
one thing.
messenger was with them, and he talked to them in front of them, living time and
Read
time
my
again
lips.
in
He
Quran
said, read my
studies and in
lips.
conferences. Yeah. And now they're promoting these ideas because they cannot get to that point because they're not, you know, submitters,
Mm.
real submitters.
One of the things, brother, they also do is, when they think about perfect happiness, they think, um, they say, for example, a bad thing can always happen to me, but when I, how to explain this? Like when you accept it, then you're not going to be unhappy about it. That's how they describe happiness. Like, for example, when you have a headache, you are going to be happy about it. Do you understand what I mean? Like it was strange a little bit, but they had this
Uh huh.
this strange idea of happiness, not believing that you're not going to have headaches at all. They didn't take this literally because the messenger said, "Read my lips." Right? He was really literal with it. He said, "In the kingdom of God, you will not have even headaches. Nothing bad is going to happen to you. Not even headaches. You're going to forget what headaches are." Like how more clear and how more literally could he say this, right? But again, they take this as, um, it's about how you, what is the right word, how you pursue, no. Mhm.
Perceive it.
Yes, perceive. Yeah, it's how about you perceive
Mm-hmm.
it. Yeah, look, imagine like a lot of bad things happen to you, like many, many bad things happen to you. You get cancer, you have these, all these things, but then you're happy because you perceive it in
Mm-hmm.
very, like, how crazy is that?
Mm-hmm.
They have that type of idea about happiness.
Yeah.
Because they don't really believe, right? When the messenger
Mm-hmm.
says, read my lips, not even headaches, they don't believe in that.
Yeah, I also noticed when you talk to that part, the perfect happiness, they don't take note. They don't like it. Yeah, I notice from so many people. Yeah, and they said, okay, even the cancer is a kind of test. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
when you die and you have maybe you believe, maybe when you
Mm-hmm.
so this is a part of the test. So if you have a cancer, then before you die, maybe you died as a believer. So many ways
Mm-hmm.
they are trying to, you know, uh,
Justify.
yeah, validate these things. Is
Mm-hmm.
okay to have a cancer or a big
Mm-hmm.
disease, yeah, yeah, even if you are submitted. So so many ways they are trying to,
Mhm.
validate this. They don't believe this perfect happiness from this life.
Mhm. I had a question about 114, chapter 11, 114. So here we read, it's clearly about the three prayers of the day from the five, right? So one of the things that I have heard before was the word that is being used for the prayers, right? You have the contact prayer salat, that is like something that you need to go and do ablution and then perform the salat. But the other thing is just a prayer, the word that they use for prayer. So can we maybe talk a little bit more about this topic on why there is a difference? You have the contact prayer salat, and then you have the other part, like the praying to God.
Sorry, who's talking about it? You said?
Okay, so it's about the contact prayer salat.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when there are a lot of people, so-called Muslims or submitters. Even Edip was, maybe he still believes that there is only three prayers and not five.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, now he believes there's no prayers.
no, really,
Mm-hmm.
no prayers at all.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So how does he Yeah, and my question was actually about the word prayers, because one of the things that he was using and also other people were using is the word that God uses here for the prayer, the contact prayer salah. They say, yeah, but like this is not the prayer where you need to do ablution, stand up and perform it. It's like just praying to God. Oh God, help me, or like the when we do normal
Uh-huh.
prayers,
Yeah, yeah.
not the
Yeah,
you
yeah,
understand?
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you're saying that there are people, if I'm not mistaken, there are people who say that we don't have to pray 5 times a day. Like we pray to God 24 hours or like whenever we want,
Also, but then they say it's three times.
exploring God.
The other two times is only to do prayer, like not when you do the ablution and you bow down and you do ruku and sujood. Like it's only
Mm-hmm.
like praying to God, like open your hands
Mm-hmm.
and then say, "Oh God, help me," and.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, because we have the word in Arabic, it's aqimus salat. And aqimus
Mm-hmm.
salat, doesn't that literally mean standing up, or not only standing up, but also preparing? Yes, preparing for the contact prayers, to do the contact prayers, because you need to do ablution to do the prayers. So when God says do the contact prayer, He's like commanding us to stand up, do the ablution, or if you have ablution, to stand up and then to perform it. That is different than when you just pray to God, ask for help. There are so many verses where God says, ask for forgiveness, repent, remember God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this is what they were using, to
Mm-hmm.
say that there's only three times prayer a day and not five.
I think they were saying it based on the prayers being mentioned by name, wasn't it?
Yeah, also, because
Uh,
yeah, also. But there is this the other part where they say prayer doesn't mean always standing up, ablution, ruku, sujud, reading the Fatiha.
Mm-hmm.
Prayer can also be, when God says do your prayer, he means just pray to me. Don't, without
Mm-hmm.
performing the ruku and sujud, the normal contact prayers that we are doing, you see?
Mm-hmm.
And their excuse is basically the word that God is using, the word prayer in Arabic. They say salat means
Yeah,
also.
I mean, contact prayers, you can these people to contact prayers mathematically coded like on several different facets. And also remembering, you can tell, show them a verse about the book being Sijin for these people. I mean, it makes perfect sense. You know, like these people that invent lies about God and try to lead other people astray. But yeah, it's amazing, like you deep. I think, brother, but just think
Is it only me or
about
yeah,
like
No,
how
I think
important.
John?
his video's reception is bad.
Yeah, brother John, we can't really understand what you're saying. It really cuts off a lot. John.
You hurt his feelings.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, yeah, and thank God we have we don't have to struggle with this because we know that all the prayers are mathematically confirmed and clarified by God's messenger. So regardless of what these people say, I mean, we know for a fact, like you said, we have the mathematical miracle. Which is a huge blessing from God, and God uses it to confirm all these practices for us, and so
Mashallah.
praise be to God.
Yeah, brother. I remember before I came to these Quran studies, and at that point, I was just new to submission, and I was also listening to Edip, and I was doing my first prayers because I didn't know how
Mm-hmm.
many there were supposed to be done, because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know anything about the mathematical
Mm-hmm.
thing about the prayers. I was just doing two,
Mm-hmm.
for every prayer. So two in the dawn, two at afternoon and noon, and so
Uh-huh.
yeah. And then of course, when I came to the Quran studies and I learned so much, the truth and so much about these things. At that point, that was like, um, you are like, you're like lost, right? Without it, like it's so amazing. And seeing people who, yeah, like Edip definitely knows about the miracle of 19 when it also comes to the contact prayer salat, because I remember him mentioning it. And there was
Mm-hmm.
just a moment when he accepted this. I remember, and those were the
Mm-hmm.
times when I still was watching his videos. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned to you, and then you told me, I remember you telling me the truth about him. So then I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And in those moments, like there was this video, he said, yeah, like one of the brothers showed me the miracle of 19 that was proving every rakat and sujud and the fatihas,
Mm-hmm.
right? The tashahuds of
Mm-hmm.
the thing. And, I can't denounce it. Like he was accepting it, but it took maybe, and then now you say he doesn't believe in
No.
none of them. Yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
Yeah, I had in 2007 or 2008 or something. I remember getting in an email discussion with him on this, and I had sent him all the mathematical details as well.
Maybe it was you. Maybe he saw that
Maybe,
one.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, and still not believing. Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
okay. I'm
Yeah.
really happy, bro. I'm extremely happy that, imagine that I would have still stayed with him and watched him, and like, uh,
Mm-hmm.
it's really dangerous, really
Mm-hmm.
dangerous. They have these different type of ideas, and in his way, he's giving information and explaining things. And then when you don't have the information, you can be easily tricked very easily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, mashallah. I mean, and then he used the same techniques. Then what's his name? The guy Harun Yahya who got it from him also apparently, took some parts of the message. They used the good parts um, to try to impress people. And they don't give credit to the messenger of the covenant uh, for any because they don't even like to mention him, and then they use it to recruit people. Using the information, a lot of things, and then they mix it
Yeah.
with their own message and give it
Mhm.
their own spin.
Yeah, brother. It was very funny. There is one case where he
Mhm.
explains that he went to Harun Yahya's place. So what he did was he was talking with him, and his real name is not Harun Yahya. His real name is Adnan
Yes,
Oktar.
it's a pen name. Yeah.
Yeah. So then he says, "Yeah, I was talking to him and discussing about the situation, the things, and I was giving him all this information. Then he went out from this room, went to another room, talking to his students, and doing as if this information was his own information. But then
Mhm.
I was thinking, yeah, but you're doing the same. Everything that you have learned is from the messenger of the covenant, and then you going there." Like
Uh-huh.
in most of his videos,
Mhm.
he doesn't really mention Dr.
Mhm.
Rashad. Not really.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, it was for me. Um, it was this interview where the interviewer was asking him, like, "Is this your translation, or is it not actually someone else's? Is it not Dr. Rashad's?" Like
Mhm.
as if he found something to blame him, right? Like, okay, you say that this is your translation, but actually it isn't, right? Come on, it's actually Dr. Rashad who is the one who did all these things. So and that was the moment where I heard Dr. Rashad's name for the first time when he was asking. I said, "What? Who is this Dr. Rashad who has a translation of the Quran?" And then I typed in Rashad Khalifa, and I saw his video, the interview that he had with this other Egyptian guy, and
Mhm.
then I learned about Dr. Rashad. And imagine
Mhm.
me looking at Edip's videos for like 1 year. Like, can you imagine, like, 1 year looking at almost like all his videos and then not knowing about Dr. Rashad? Like, this crazy.
Mhm. Mhm.
This is like so
Yeah.
crazy.
Right.
So you can clearly see how he's doing his utmost best to,
Mhm.
and I think it's also because he was, how do you say this? Uh, he was announced. Can you say this? He was announced a hypocrite.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah.
Yeah, or how do you say it now? Yeah, he's. I think he's trying to
He was
hide.
exposed. Yeah.
Yes, expose. Yes, thank you, bro. That's the right word.
Mhm.
I think that is maybe that can play a huge role. Like he can't stop talking about it because this is the one part that changed his whole
Mhm.
life. He went to
Mhm.
USA and everything, and he can't
Mhm.
really now denounce it. But in a way, he's trying to do as if it's from him. While it's also
Mhm.
Ahmed Didas, right? Also Ahmed Didas.
Mhm.
There were so many things. I was
Mhm.
also watching his videos. Like I was so amazed of the information that he had about the Bible and the
Mhm.
Quran and so many things. And then learning about to say, okay, they all have this information from Dr. Rashad,
Mhm.
and none of them said anything about Dr. Rashad. Like so crazy, yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Actually, I am happy the person you are talking, he left the submission because when before the messenger died, I think, before 2 3 weeks, I think the way he fight with the messenger, he when he called him as a liar or something, the messenger was lying something, so
You said a few
so
years.
I don't know few weeks, I think few
Mhm.
2 3 years
Yeah.
some, yeah, he's very, yeah, so
Mhm.
Yeah, so they do not deserve the messengers. God
Mhm.
took the
Mm,
messenger in on time.
Mhm. Mhm.
Those
Which
people.
is also kind of suspicious too, that this should happen like a few weeks.
Yeah, so this is the weird.
what again? What is suspicious, brother? What is
Yeah, I
suspicious?
mean the fact that the assassination happened just a few weeks after the fight, he had,
Oh, with Ahmadida, you mean?
no,
No,
I'm
no.
talking about
Oh.
the messenger, the Adib,
Mhm.
Oh, okay. They had this discussion. Oh, okay. Yeah.
that
And then it happened
exposure,
after.
happened just a few weeks before.
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And this is a miracle for us also, Samita. So when you fight with the messenger, he blames so many. How can you just be a submitter? The God will not allow you to be a submitter. So this is the things.
Yeah, it's
So
actually against God. Yeah,
yeah,
this is
again.
also a detail.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
basically, when they are fighting with the messenger, it's
Mhm.
actually because there's a verse in the Quran, right, where it clearly says it's not about the message; it's basically about God,
Mhm.
because he is promoting the message that God has given to him. He's doing his job is to deliver the message, right? And then when you are fighting against it, you're just clearly fighting against God.
Mhm.
So either it was Dr. Rashad or Muhammad or Jesus, it doesn't matter. When
Mhm.
you don't accept the message, when you fight against it, it is a fight against God. And there's a verse in the Quran where God says this, right? He says clearly, like their fight is with me. It's not
Mhm.
actually personally with him, because anyone could be a messenger, right? Like when God chooses someone, he chooses with his knowledge, and then either it's Dr. Rashad or Muhammad or Jesus. Eventually, it's all about being enemies with God.
Yeah, and this is not like temporary fight. It's so extreme
Mm,
that if you listen that audio, so he was fighting so extremely with the messenger of God. So
mm.
yeah,
Because of the ego, eh?
yeah,
The
ego,
ego.
yeah, ego, yeah. So this is also the lesson for us and a miracle for us. How God divert the people from the truth.
Mm-hmm. MashaAllah. In 109, the title is Following Our Parents Blindly, and it says a great human tragedy. You see, this is really a big tragedy when you have so many people, they just follow the things because of their parents, like a lot, like maybe most of the people are like that, right? Because
Mm.
like when you look geographically to the world, when you look at Turkey, for example, like most of the people, they are Sunni Muslims. So you would see, like, why are you a Sunni Muslim? You would say, okay, the parents were like that. When you go to
Mm.
Morocco, it's Shafi Muslims. When you go to other parts, for example, Iran, it's the Shiites, right? Like the majority is Shiites. So it's clear that all these people, when they are following this religion, they're just blindly following the religion of their parents.
Mm.
Yeah. So, and like, for example, when someone asks me my religion, and I'm sometimes explaining to them, I clearly say, like, I have a different religion than of my parents. It's an important issue, actually, like to really distinguish from following blindly your parents. Because if my parents were Christians, then what would I be? Like a Christian or a Hindu? Then I would be also a Hindu. In our cases, since we changed our religion, this, it's, yeah. Like, you understand what I mean? Like, it's important not to follow blindly the parents, even if, because every person thinks that the religion of their parents, most of the people, of course, think that that's the right way, that's the truth.
Well, also, they don't even really, take it seriously. If they believe in God seriously, they would, and they were sincere about it. I mean, they would actually look into it, but because they're actually don't believe in hereafter, they're just giving you lip service, and they're just people just showing off and calling that worship. It's like they're not guided. So otherwise, God will guide them.
Mhm.
They use their brains.
So how would our children, since it is the truth, right? There is a difference. Like you have this community, they have this religion of theirs, but it's not the truth. And then the children following, which is wrong. But then you have submission, and then our children following submission.
Hmm.
So, but in this case, we can say, okay, it's not blindly
No,
because
because we have
it
to
is our
teach them the
duty.
proofs. We
Yeah,
have
it's
to
the
teach
duty.
them the proofs. We have to teach them why this is the truth,
Mm.
and then they're not following it blindly. They actually have proof. You know, if someone asks
Yeah,
them, they can show it to them.
yeah, because accepting a mathematical thing is actually you can't. Yeah, like it's a fact, right? Like you should be very. It should be very easy to explain it because it's a fact.
Hmm. Hmm.
To prove it. Yeah, it's different
Right.
than when you don't have any evidence because all the other religions they don't have any evidence that it's truth.
Hmm.
For example, the Mohammedans they follow the Hadith next to the Quran. Actually, they don't follow the Quran, but okay. And then when you ask about any evidence, this is one of the things that I most of the time ask. For to people who use the Hadith as a source, I just ask them. I say, okay, give me from the one Hadith which you believe is the truth, and you have like the best evidence ever. Like, come with it. Show it to me an evidence. And I believe the most known hadith is the one where the prophet is, how is it called? Where he says eventually in the end, I leave only, in one hadith narration, it says, I leave only the Quran to you. The other one, it says the Quran and the Sunnah. And the third one is, the Shiites accept this one, they say, the Quran and my Ahlul Bayt, he says. And even of that one, we have three different, three different versions. The ones that most people, so-called most people, have witnessed the hadith, because like a lot, like all these people, they were gathered, right? They were all gathered together, and then he starts saying, so-called saying, oh, I'm going to tell you guys that I don't have much more time left, and be nice to your families and your neighbors and help the needy, etc., etc. And in the end, he says, like, I'm leaving to you guys the Quran. And in other versions, it says Quran and Sunnah, and other one Quran and Ahlul Bayt. And there is no evidence that, he said all these things. They can't show not even one evidence.
And brother, also you are saying about your children or our children. So every soul has to come their own conviction. Even if your children, maybe he is following you or someone else, but in certain time she has to come his or her own conclusion by his or her understanding. Otherwise, in some way, Satan can dupe them, and they left from the submission. They had to come their own and conviction. It's not you, not me. They have to find, maybe they are following you now because of you are a father or your mother. But yeah, but if they do not come to their own
Mhm.
conclusion, by
Mhm.
reading the Quran, by so Satan can come
Mhm.
anytime, and this is a trick. It's not
Yeah,
like that
mashallah.
now. Oh, now they are following you. Oh, yeah, they are submitted now, but they have to come their own conclusion, their own conviction.
Mhm.
That's my understanding.
Yeah, you're right, brother. Like even the messenger, I think, yeah, he was speaking about this. Like, um, God doesn't accept. What is the right word? Like he doesn't accept people who just do because their parents are doing it. Just blindly doing it. Like, and I think even in submission, if you just call yourself a submitter because this is what you have learned from your parents, This is what I understand what you say, right? Like that is not acceptable. You need to come to your own conclusion that this is the truth.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
mashallah.
They
Yeah,
have
yeah, mashallah.
to.
So yeah, so the thing is that um, if you're like a first generation submitter, this is because it's harder for you to come to submission. But someone, let's say you have a child and you tell them, that God says you should worship me alone and do the 5 daily contact prayers, and they're doing it, and you say, the child of the messenger, etc. I mean, and they accept it uh, from you telling them. I mean, they can disagree at that point, right? I mean, obviously we can't force our kids, and they can disagree, but if they accept it and they follow it, I mean, that's good for them, and God will accept it if they continue to follow it. They will not get the same credit as you will. Someone who had to overcome, someone who's born into it doesn't get the same credit. But God accepts as long as they're following it. They're not hypocrites. They're not disbelievers, idol worshippers. But they're not going to get the same credit, as people who were not born into it, people who were first generation. That's why God talks about the many from the early generations and few from the later generations. People who are in high heaven.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
brother. Yeah. Go ahead, brother.
no. Yeah, I agree with the brother Solomon. Yeah, yeah. That's also, yeah, because but still even because of the child who is like 8 years old, 10 years old. So we do not know their
Their true
understanding,
intentions. Their true intentions,
true
right?
intention. So I
That's
see
what. Yeah.
some, yeah, I see some children of the summit. So they used to follow their, with the monk in the mosque, blah blah. When they become now 19 years old, 20 years old, and they
Uh-huh.
sometimes they are rejecting the message. They don't want to some
Uh-huh.
things. So I see some kind of
So either they become rejectors or they become hypocrites. Like, because if you say that you believe while you know that you're not believing, then you're a hypocrite. And if you just openly say, no, I don't accept this, then you're a rejecter. So, but in any case, it's eventually every soul, right? And God knows which souls are destined to believe and the ones who don't. It's up to God, of course, yeah. But I get the point, brother. But Suleiman, you were saying, like, if that person is following his parents, they are doing everything right, they don't object. So by actually, when they are not objecting, that means they just accepted it, right? They just accepted the
Yeah.
truth. They understood
Hmm.
it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So then there is nothing wrong with it. Like, what else can they do to prove that they truly
Hmm.
believe in it? What else can they do?
Yeah.
Like, we
Hmm.
needed to prove by denouncing
Hmm.
our parents, our
Yeah.
religion, then
Yeah.
and then explaining all these things. Like, this is the reason why I left Sunni Islam, etc. They don't
Hmm.
have to do that. Yeah, mashallah.
Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, we're all born with a natural instinct of worshiping God alone, and we tell them, they easily follow it, but then they don't end up learning idol worship, from people in this world that they have to now unlearn and overcome. I mean, it's like
Mhm,
they're clean
mhm.
slate.
Yeah, when they are praying in the right way,
Hmm.
like without
Hmm.
mentioning Muhammad's name
Hmm.
or Ibrahim's name. That,
Hmm.
yeah, that's, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember someone was asking the messenger and saying that their children were more lucky than them because they were born
Hmm.
into submission. But then the messenger says, no, that's not true.
Hmm.
It was much easier, like you said, brother. Like, it's very easy
Hmm.
for them because the parents they don't have to go
Hmm.
through all these difficult things, of course. Yeah.
Hmm.
And that's because they deserve it, probably, as well, right? They deserve to be born in a family which the people are like submitters and it's easy for them, but then that's what they deserve.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And as a submitter, also, I mean, you deserve to have, righteous children. Let's say God will give
Inshallah.
you children who will follow.
Inshallah.
children that will not be a source of retribution for you,
Yeah, yeah.
make your life miserable.
And brother, also I want to add something. Or you also, mashallah, said verse 107, 11, 107. Yeah,
Mhm.
God, clearly said eternally, eternally. Yeah, so you said the Jewish people, they said the for some period of they will be in the hell. Yeah. Also, I think the traditional Muslim, they also, I think I mean copied of so many things from their Jewish and yeah, Christian religion. Traditional Muslim also believes most of the things, like some people will
Mhm.
be, 100 years, some people. So, and
Yeah,
after
yeah.
years, and also God will give permission to Prophet Muhammad, to take out some,
To save them, man. Mhm.
yeah, take from hell and he'll, take to the heaven. So many weird,
Yeah, not only Muhammad, like also these clergymen who know who call themselves, it's the word is evliya. They call themselves evliya. It's actually evliya is a multiplication of weli, and weli means like some a friend of God. Let's say, like very close to God. And evliya is someone who is like the people who are very close to God. And I remember there was this one story that they told. There was this drunk guy who was very like a bad person. And one day he was walking in the streets and he heard this group of people, they were doing zikr. And then he came to there and then he put one step inside the house or the room or the place they were in. He fell and then he died. Then the angel came and then he wanted to bring him to hell. But then this clergyman, the so-called Elia, he said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Yes, this person was bad. He's gonna go to hell." He says, "No, his one foot was in my house." Like, and then he saved him from hell.
yes,
His one foot. Yes, so I grew up hearing like so many stories, this type of stories about those people who can save. And about 107, brother, the one thing that I remember, he was saying, he was using the same sentence. We said, eternally they abide therein, comma, then it says, for as long as the heavens and the earth endure. So then his point is, yeah, but the heavens and the earth is not like for as long as the heavens and the earth endure, meaning um, the heavens and the earth, they will have an ending. So because God says eternally for as long as the heavens and the earth will endure, meaning as long, so that it's not eternal. Like this crazy idea how they swift the word, shifted and
Is that from
uh,
Sunni Islam? Because I've seen that same understanding with a hypocrite years ago. I think
mhm.
their website was submission.org. It's kind of a purplish, but they had the same write up where they basically quoted verses and they said, well, based on what this verse, because I don't know if it was these verses, but it was similar. Oh, it said, in accordance with the will of God. Like, they abide there. It might be these verses, but yeah, they use that and they somehow they wrote like a really long article, like it was like 2 pages, basically explaining, saying that, saying the same thing.
Isn't this the thing about this mosque, the submission.org website? And we shouldn't,
I think that,
actually promote it, but
yeah. Well, no, I'm not promoting
no,
it.
no, I'm
I'm
not saying,
telling
no, no,
you.
no, 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 I'm not saying you're doing it. No, no, no. I opened it on the website. I was checking
Oh,
something.
okay.
I checked it, no, brother.
I thought, like, no, I
You're
was
not.
letting people know, like, this person who runs it is, yeah, I visited that, I think, I think before I had ever reached out to Brother Suleiman, but I ended up, I think I told him at some point later on.
Yeah, me too. Before I met brother, I was also I visited this website. I was using it actually for the reading of the Quran and that type of things.
Mashallah. Yeah, I mean, they had like, I didn't see any issues with it, but one day I came across that and I'm like, it's like, man, you got this person that, kind of like you were saying, is trying to trick people. They're lying about God, and they're telling people basically, uh, heaven or hell isn't forever, you know. But
Mhm.
it reminds me of the verse, like, how the Quran is teaching for such people. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the intercession and the permanence of the eternity. I mean, the permanent, the eternal nature of heaven and hell, and it just reminds me, like, um, it just reminded me of the sermon I just recently gave. But one thing I didn't actually mention, I wish I had also talked about the sermon, was like if you look at the hadiths, like they have like this quota system, like they say, for example, Muhammad will intercede on all types of sinners who committed major sins. 70,000 will enter paradise without any sort of reckoning, without more than the number of trees or stones and pebbles. And then, martyrs, if someone's a martyr, each martyr will take 70 people, imagine 70 people from their family members.
Oh,
And if you memorize the Quran by heart, each person who memorized the Quran by heart will take 10 people with them to heaven. And
yeah, yeah,
then,
yeah. That is
yeah,
famous. Yeah, famous.
yeah,
That.
yeah. Yeah, and if there's someone who has a funeral and there's 40 people at the funeral and they intercede for this person will go to heaven, And then and then there's many, many more, Then there's others where they don't have any numbers for, So like they have all these made up ideas that they think that people will go
Yeah, really, it seems like it's
mhm,
just wishful thinking. Like,
yeah.
because they don't believe in the hereafter, they're kind of, I
Mhm,
think, secretly hoping that it's the same thing with the idolization of Jesus. They're
mhm,
secretly hoping, well, oh, maybe it's
mhm.
true. Maybe I'll get in. Maybe
Yeah,
there's a second. Um,
yeah. I mean, when you're believing that someone will not get their reckoning, you're actually disbelieving in God's fairness
system.
and His justice,
Yeah, right.
and you're disbelieving in the day of judgment, which God says is characterized by the fact that there's not even an atom's weight of injustice towards anyone, so you're not believing in the hereafter, and you're not believing in God, the way you're supposed to believe. Not knowing God that He's fair, He's just, and you're not obviously, and on top of all of this, I mean, of course, that they don't understand what this world is all about, to begin with, and they're totally lost.
Yeah, like people who think Donald Trump can get into heaven if he believes in Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, why doesn't Don?
Like,
Why
it's the
doesn't he
ultimate
think?
epitome
Why
of
doesn't he?
injustice.
Yeah, why doesn't he think he will go into heaven if he thinks he's God? I mean, Jesus sent on earth or something.
Right.
Like the.
He says USA as a society and as a nation practices God's laws as laid out in the Quran more so than any other nation in the world. This is something that they wrote down there. Is this, I don't know,
Who
maybe
wrote
it's off
down?
topic. It's on the website. It says,
Oh, which
the
website?
question,
Submission.org.
yeah, yeah. And there was this thing, they were saying, okay, is what is the question? Um, how Islamic is USA? No. Uh, Wait, let me see. Um, how Islamic is the US? Yes, that is the question. How Islamic is the US? And they made a conclusion. They say USA, as a society and as a nation, practices God's laws as laid out in the Quran more so than any other nation in the world, because there is economic freedom, political freedom, and religious freedom. This is their conclusion. But maybe
I
this is an
mean,
off topic.
yeah, I mean, we can talk about off topic now. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
so the thing is, like, if you really look at the constitution, the country, it's founded on the principles that you see and what price a great nation, right? Like, if you look at appendix, I believe, which is appendix 22, is it? No, not appendix 22. Sorry. What price a great nation? Is appendix 36? So all the things that it talks about a believing nation, you know, it talks about
Mm-hmm.
maximum freedom for the people, maximum freedom
Mm-hmm.
of religion, expression, travel, economy, guaranteed human
Mm-hmm.
rights, prosperity. I mean, submission will, America will be the heart of Islam, right? But that's in the future, near future, God willing. But
Mm-hmm.
the foundation is there for the
The
country
basic
to
foundation, yeah.
being that road. And I mean, if you look at it honestly, from
It's not totally
someone,
new.
yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I mean, this is all relative, right? I mean, I'm not. I mean, obviously, this is all relative because we all have different experiences, right? So
Mm-hmm.
based on my experience, like when I go to different countries or meet people from other societies and countries, and I mean look at their cultures, even at a distance, like I mean my experience in the U.S. is very different from other people and what they see on TV and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like I see that, like I can see that. But that doesn't mean that there's so many evil people, that you're seeing in the masses. There's so many of them doing all kinds of things. Everybody's doing. But the thing is, like, you still have the freedom. People doing whatever they want. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
those things are great. But also, I see the good people too. Personally speaking, like the kind that like you don't see in other places. Like it's hard to um, maybe explain it in words, but I see signs of that how God is preparing a country,
Mm.
to be in that position. Like you
Can you
see
give
those basic
examples?
tenets. Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I could. Like for example, if you see someone, like you see a father beating their child, or someone being bullied at or something, like you will not have people like bystanders just looking. People will not be afraid to go up to you and tell you, hey, what you're doing is wrong.
Mm.
Things like that. Like people will stand up
Mm-hmm.
for you and stuff like that. Even in Muslim countries, like, or not in Muslim, like other countries, you don't see these types of things. You see cruelty in subtle ways. You see people not caring about these types of things. People just going on with their lives, doesn't care about what's happening.
Mm. Even if
So
a dead
these types
person
of
is
things,
lying down.
yeah. So yeah, these types of things, like I see, um,
Mm-hmm.
and I appreciate it, but I also appreciate the fact that the things that are already there in the U.S. that are not there in many other countries, which obviously Satan is trying to mess with right now, like our freedoms
Mm.
and everything, but they're there. We have these basic freedoms
Awesome.
that you don't
I
have in
Yeah,
other
like,
remember.
countries, mashallah.
I remember being cautious about the topic.
Yeah, I mean, it got a little serious. People were scared. They were trying to scare people into being quiet and everything, but it's not working at all. So
Mm.
it's backfiring actually.
yeah, like the saying, give me liberty or give me death.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm. Okay.
No, that's not. It's like the founders, but yeah, like kind of what brothers was saying, like even like you see videos on YouTube like a baby squirrel or something, or like these crows that are like helpless in the street or something, and like people, the neighbors or something will make a big deal and like,
Mm.
take it to a rehab facility. Squirrels, chipmunks, birds. I mean, same for
Mm.
humans too, but yeah, you can see the the
Mm. The
level of
kindness, yeah.
yeah, kindness,
Yeah,
empathy.
and I mean, Quran talks about that, right? I mean, there's Christians that are, the closest in friendship to the believers, because they have priests among them, God says, they're kind, and that they'll believe, like when God says, like when they hear God's revelations, they fall prostrate upon hearing them. And we know that when the message is talking about how it's supposed to become the heart of submission, there's a reason, there's a reason for it, and obviously the foundations are there. It's coming very close, obviously, when submission is going to prevail.
Yeah, too. Just like even like outside of, I mean, on the same uh um excuse me, I lost my train of thought for a second, but no, on the same note, uh. Like they had a guy who legitimately reviewed a piece of workout equipment. He's a small YouTube channel, maybe 90,000 subscribers, but basically the company was a fair, honest review. It was just an honest review, and I've seen this before. And basically the company's like threatening to sue him and stuff. And long story short, like these other bigger YouTubers that are consumer right advocates, they make videos on it, and like $60,000 has already been raised, to fight this company and stuff. And basically they're just trying to bully people, because they're throwing around their money. But like people are getting together, you know, like you see this pretty often. Like they don't, whether you're getting bullied on like strong armed financially or just from an honest review. And just because the company is bigger, like once people know about it, people get together and generally support
Yeah,
each other.
yeah. There's a moral foundation that we have here that, mashallah, I really just feel it really make me feel very safe, and at home, always, which I don't see in other places as clear as I see in the U.S. And which I think that's one of the reasons why God has already given this country so many blessings. Um, so I think
God
that's
bless
clear in
America.
I mean, yeah, but the thing is, I mean,
I
when you
hear,
look at it,
I hear
yeah,
this a lot.
yeah, he
God
does
bless
a
America.
yeah, yeah, but I mean, the thing is that, I mean, this is not just exclusive to the United States. This is for any country that will follow, And I think there's also the footnote from, the dollar bill, right, which the messenger talks about, that it's in the currency, and so that's that's why it says that the dollar is strong, right? Something like hold on,
Yeah, yeah.
hold on. I mean, I'm not saying that's why the dollar is strong, but I
It's
mean
one of the
it's the
reasons,
only
but the messenger
currency.
says this. Yeah,
And
but the
what?
messenger
Hold on.
says it, brother.
Yeah, but he doesn't say it like that. Hold on.
Yeah, he
That's
says
why I
the
don't.
name of God is there, like,
Hmm.
and he says that's why the dollar is the strongest, if I'm not mistaken, because God's name is on it.
Yes, I also heard, from one
Yes, yes.
somebody.
So the footnote says the currency of the USA is the only currency that carries the phrase "In God We Trust." It is
Hmm.
a fact that the American dollar has been the strongest currency in the world and the
Hmm.
standard by which all other currencies are measured. So he doesn't say it is the strongest currency in the world just because the name is there. So that's why I didn't want to say it that way.
I think it
Uh,
was it was a
but I mean, it's
recording
a
or something.
sign. Nevertheless, it's a sign that I mean, these people believe in God, and they put it on their currency as
Hmm.
well, and obviously that, but obviously, let's say like another country, some poor country can put the
Here we
same
had
thing.
it
It
too.
doesn't mean that they're gonna start rivaling the U.S. just because of that.
Mm.
Obviously, that's not the only reason, but yeah, I mean, it's a reflection of
I
what
can
they
give
believe.
my I can give my own experience, brother. Like
Mm-hmm.
before the euro in the Netherlands, we had the other like the what is it called in English? The valuta, the yeah, the money, let's say. And there
Uh-huh.
was this, yeah, and on the money it said, God be with us.
Mm-hmm.
And that time the money was like you could buy like so many things for like
Mm-hmm.
50, and right now you can't like buy very small things with the same amount. Like it was so amazingly known by everyone how
Mm-hmm.
strong it was at the time, and then they removed it from the money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can say I experienced it, how strong it
Mm-hmm.
was, even with this money we had before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, yeah. What was I gonna say? I forgot. But yeah, I mean, mashallah, this
So
promise
it's
that
not the
God
only
has is
reason, yeah.
for yeah, but this promise that God has is for anybody, any country who follows God. God makes them prosperous, and God gives us numerous
Mhm.
examples. You know, um,
This,
and it doesn't mean that other countries cannot be righteous. If they don't,
yeah,
if anybody who practices God's laws, can become righteous.
yeah. Also, the
Um,
example, brother, is with the mosques. The Messenger of the Covenant.
mm,
He says that like even you have they are doing idol worship in these mosques, right? And then he says like you see all these mosques, but there is not a lot of fight in it. Like you don't see many people fighting in the mosque. There is no fights going on, right? And he
mhm,
says because even if it's idol worship, still there you hear the name of God a lot in those places. So this shows how important it is, to remember God, mention His
Okay,
name a lot of times. Do
yeah.
you
Also,
remember that, Suleiman, the voice recording where he speaks about this topic?
I think it was a Night of Destiny.
yeah.
Um, but also,
Yeah,
I was just
Also,
gonna
there's
say,
other
also
ones.
on the
Yeah.
also on the cop cars too. On I think most of the partners have "In God We Trust." You know,
Hmm.
and then the good departments still have to protect and serve. Instead of some I've seen with the phrase "holding accountable." You know, to protect and
so
serve has been original. But some departments with cities have deviated from that.
okay, but so like if I would make a new coin and I call it and so
Docker coin, like on Bitcoin,
then
maybe you should.
God in
We can buy your
in
your
in
coin.
God. So
Yeah.
it's EGWT. In God we trust coin.
Not EG, IG.
Oh, I'm sorry, IG. Like we can be multimillionaires in.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The thing that the fact that the name of God is there is the only currency. It's a reflection of the belief.
Mhm.
If the belief is not there and they just put the currency, God's name there, it's not going to do anything. I mean, but the thing is, yeah, it's definitely a reflection of their belief. That people believe in God, and a lot of people are going to become submitters, but relatively contrary to like what people think. The stereotype about people in the United States. People like before I came to the U.S. Like what I heard from other people was like, oh yeah, U.S. everybody's a disbeliever and they're all atheists and this and that. But like, yeah, when you come to the U.S., I mean, you see that 80% of people, more than 80% of people are religious. Like, I mean, religious in the sense that follow some kind of religion. They're not atheists, and they have like certain morals that they believe in, and um, which is better than not having any morals, right?
Mm.
Um,
Remember where the messenger was talking about the sign outside the mosque, and he was saying
mhm,
that people were coming up to him and telling him how happy they were seeing the sign submission,
mhm,
happiness is
yeah,
submission to God.
mhm,
Like these people were Christians. They yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you appreciate that more when you go travel to other countries and you see the difference. That's why you should come and visit, brother.
Oh, inshallah, brother. I was thinking of that, like thinking, okay, so what if we, after Apophis, maybe, when it's truly rebuilt, we would
After
travel. Yeah, maybe, yeah. Maybe before, I'm not sure. God knows.
right.
This is also
Yeah,
my
maybe
same
after maybe after Trump, huh?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, because people tourists are so distraught right now. Like nobody wants to travel to the U.S. right now. Based on what they see on TV right now, the
Mhm.
tourism industry apparently is suffering a lot.
Yeah,
Is that what you gonna say?
oh yeah, no, just yeah. This is also my same understanding as a country, the U.S. So my experience also, as a country, this is the country they follow God laws more than in other countries. That's why still the U.S. is leading the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
That's my understanding. Still, even there is
Mm-hmm.
some here, mistake, but still, the compared to
Mm-hmm.
the other countries around the world, the US is
Yeah.
still following the God's law as a country. Yeah. So, I have a question about the zakat. Can I ask?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, the question from the me, I want to reassure my understanding. Also, question from the one submitter, like paying zakat from the any kind of assistance, like the government assistance, or like
Mm-hmm.
the, for example, I pay zakat someone and
Mm-hmm.
he receive money from me. So and
Mm-hmm.
will the person need to pay zakat again from that money received as zakat?
I don't.
I said no, because this is not his
No, no,
the
no. He
income.
does. No, 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 no.
He
He
does.
not. He
Yeah.
yes, he does. Because they asked the messenger about this exactly the same question. So he said any money you receive. So even zakat is received money, you need to pay from it.
Yeah. Any
Zakat.
money that kind of enters your pocket and is yours to keep,
Yes.
you need to
No,
Yes.
pay.
but no, but when you go to the appendix like the zakat, he said net income. You receive any net income. Income. He pointed out the income.
Brother.
Yeah.
Brother,
Any
there is
money.
this.
Yeah. But he clarifies this. Any money that enters your pocket and is yours to keep is, you have to pay zakat on it. So let's say
So,
you inherit something from your parents, right? That's not your income. Let's say your parents give you a house. Let's say you sell the house, you get $2 million. You have to give zakat on it. Until you have the house, you don't have to. But now you sold it, you're gonna get $2 million. Now that money is gonna enter your pocket. It's yours to keep. You have to give zakat on it. Messenger talks about that. Yeah.
yeah, and
Oh,
in the voice recording, they specifically asked the same question. Brother Nizami
Yeah.
asked.
Yeah. And if we want
So
to be specific, if we want to be specific, like the Quran says harvest. So
mm.
then nobody should pay zakat unless they have crops.
No, what
Because it
I'm
says
just
harvest.
yeah, this is a
That's
time
about
of
the
the harvest.
concept.
When you do the business harvest, you have a so then
Uh-huh.
when you the time of the day of the harvest, then and you calculate how much
money is left
profit.
from the
Yeah,
business.
yeah, from
Yeah.
the business, then you pay based on this one. This is
Mm-mm.
time. Like
Mhm.
if you harvest after 3 months, after 2 months, then you the day you so that's I
Yeah,
understand. But
yeah, but they had.
Yeah, what
Yeah,
if
about the
So
somebody
if
same
I
says,
pay
question.
look,
any,
brother,
say I
okay,
pay,
so what if I give you $20 million in gift? You know,
You need to pay.
you need to pay.
Of course. Like even if this is zakat,
but
but
so
this is
no,
what I understand from your question.
yeah,
Your question
my note.
is, do you need to give zakat from the received zakat
Yeah,
money? Is that not your
this is
question?
not something that that's like we can negotiate on. This is already something that the messenger of the covenant has already explained. So you should
Also in
definitely
the
give.
recording, brother. Also
Yeah,
in
you
the
should
voice
definitely
recording.
No,
give.
I know, but I am just explaining the one he said net income. So that's why. So when you have we know the income. What is income?
No,
When
but he
you
explains what income means. Income, and you know what income is? Anything that's coming in.
In
You
your
know,
program.
If I go
income.
cut
You know.
somebody's grass like for
So
$20,
yeah,
but it's
yeah,
not technically my net income like you see on
yeah,
tax returns and stuff from an official quote unquote job. But yeah, like if somebody
yeah,
it's income, like it's
yeah,
incoming, income
yeah,
value money.
yeah. Like you have incoming call, right? Someone's calling you, say you have an incoming call. Doesn't mean he's paying you money.
so
It's
so
entering your pocket.
Yeah, because like think about it, like back in the day, we used to maybe trade pomegranates for carrots or something, and then I would trade wheat, or so that's not money, so like it's still anything of value,
so if I pay any $10 for any as a gift, the any person, those they have to pay zakat for $10. Even
Yes.
the and so
Yes.
if I buy a shirt like $100, so I give them shirt. So now the person no need to pay
What
anything.
is chart? What is chart?
Shirt like the
They should
dress.
cut 2.5% of the shirt and give it to someone else.
No,
What is chart?
no,
What is chart?
like the
He
dress,
means shirt.
dress or
He says
pant,
shirt.
shirt. The like
What is that?
A
the
shirt
shirt.
that you
Oh,
wear.
shirts. Oh,
Shirt,
okay.
shirt.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay. My pronunciation is bad, brother.
Brother. Very good question. Very good question. Suleiman, so
Yeah,
like you need to cut
that's why you
the
need to bring your
arms?
shirts back, huh?
You need to cut the
No,
arms
no,
of the
no.
shirt?
Yeah.
Give it to someone who needs.
So no,
We can make shirts for the cats.
no, brother. So you answer this one. So now,
No,
so what I can do?
So I want
Instead
to
of
ask, but I want to ask, why are you giving a shirt as a zakat? Why?
no,
yeah,
not zakat, not zakat, as a gift, gift. For example, not
yeah,
zakat.
you
Let
can
I.
give.
Yeah.
Let's say you can give someone shirt as a gift. Let's say, right?
Mm,
Let's say this shirt has a value, right? Let's
mm,
say I give you some expensive gift. So if as long as you have the gift, you can't do anything with it, right?
Oh, you need
But
to
if
sell it
you,
and
yeah, if you go
earn
sell
money.
it or something, then
Mm-hmm.
money is gonna come into your pocket. Then you have to give charity,
Yes,
and
mashallah.
whenever you
Mashallah.
liquidate it,
Mashallah,
money is
brother.
coming in. You have to give charity on it.
Very
So
good explains. Thank
so
you.
instead of paying zakat, no, this is like I'm just logically just getting the point. So if I pay, let's say, like the zakat, I'm not paying the cash because I know that if I pay cash, so the person has a burden now has to pay zakat again. So what I'll do, I'll just buy the the regular like the grocery shopping. The family that's the meat, eggs.
They
So
can
they are
still
not
give to
receiving.
charity from that. Like it's just like harvest
Yes,
if they
like you
want.
gave it to them.
You know.
Yeah, like you
Yeah.
gave it to them, they also can give it to someone
Yeah. The thing
they know
is,
they need.
yeah, the thing is, God knows that what's coming in. And we have a practical system that the messenger explains.
Mhm.
And we're just supposed to follow the messenger. In this example, he talks about, any money, he says, that enters your pocket, if it's yours to keep, you know, you have to give charity on it,
Yeah,
like
mashallah.
it
And now
could be income, whatever. Now if you get a loan, a loan is not yours to keep. You have to
Mhm.
return it, You're just
And you
borrowing
turn
it,
it,
so you don't have
yeah,
to.
and you turn it with the money from which you have paid the zakat out of. You understand? So
Yeah, so they have if I give them as a zakat any shopping, so they have to recalculate the value and they have to pay zakat for that one. You mean?
yes.
I
So
mean, they
brother,
should, but the thing is, like, if I give you 1 cent, for example, right? I mean, I'm not expecting you to pay charity on it, but what you but the thing is, obviously, God doesn't make things difficult for us. So, but the thing is, if you are in situations like that, let's say, for example, you get very little money, you can always give more charity in advance. Like there's nothing stopping you from giving to charity, right? God has just made a social system for distribution of wealth in this way, right? But if it's but nothing should stop people from giving to charity if it's too little. For example, like you give $10 to someone, you said, right? And now how are they going to give to charity? I mean, $10 or 2.5% is going to be very
2.5
small
cents.
cents, 2.5 cents, right? But they can always
Yeah.
give more, in advance. They can give five of it to someone if they want, or they can give less. If they can afford to give more, they can in advance. There's nothing stopping you from doing that.
Or they wait 1 month, and then before the end of the month, they
Mm-hmm.
collect, and then they
Yeah.
calculate a little bit. And I want
Yeah.
to ask, brother, it's a good point actually. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why would I go and do grocery for someone as a zakat? Like, why wouldn't I give just money? What is really, because that person
Mm-hmm.
can choose.
What
Yeah, because
grocery
we had
they want?
yeah,
Yeah.
because you remember I asked this question, brother, like many
Mm-hmm.
years ago about the beggar. So I
Mm-hmm.
made this mistake. Instead of giving that person the money, I wasn't trusting him. I had this suspicious ideas about him, which was like it's a sin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I offered them to go to the supermarket and then buy bread or like anything. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember you telling me, but what if that person doesn't like that? Like maybe he wants to
Mm-hmm.
buy something else, right? Maybe he likes
Mm-hmm.
Coca-Cola or something,
Mm-hmm. Too much
Um,
sugar.
yeah, but maybe maybe he needs maybe that person needs it. Who knows?
Maybe you like Coca Cola and he doesn't, and he doesn't buy Coca Cola.
Yeah.
Okay, so in our religion, so that means that income, that means anything you have in your pocket, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter how you get it. So, so it's not the regular income definition. But if you go to the definition of income, so we see that when you earn, when you invest, when you have
You
business,
don't have to
uh,
earn it.
so
You
so
don't have
that,
to earn it.
yeah, you have to earn it. So that's the income.
No, no,
But
no, 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 no. You don't have to earn it. Like there is like,
Income, yeah, income
yeah.
in
no, if
our
you go to the
definition.
definition of the real income, that I know from the accounts, this is the income you have to get earn it by working or investment or business.
Yeah,
That's income.
Nizam, I highly recommend you, like, instead of going back and forth on
Mm-hmm.
this, like, I highly recommend you to go listen to the audio. The messenger clearly says
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah, that's I have to. Yeah, that's I have to.
anything that enters your pocket, and if you still have questions about it, then then you can bring it up, and we can talk about the definition of income,
Mm-hmm.
But the messenger is clearly talking about it. Like, there's no argument here, right? The messenger clearly explains it that any money you get, anything that enters your pocket and is yours to keep,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mhm.
have to pay charity on it. It doesn't have to be just from your work or from your business.
Yes, even if you didn't
You
earn
could get
it.
charity, you could get a
Yes.
prize,
Yeah,
it
no,
could
that, yeah,
just
yeah.
you could end up walking on the road and discovering it on the street.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
could open and dig a well and it comes out of there. Like, so what? The idea is distribution of wealth God has given us,
Mm-hmm.
and if it's something that belongs to you or is yours now, is yours to keep, you give charity on it. It's very simple. The messenger explains it. So, but
Mm-hmm.
we can't just get hung up on one word
Mm-hmm.
and go to dictionary and then define it and limit it. The
Mm-hmm.
Quran, like I said, Quran talks about it in a very different way. It
Mm-hmm.
talks about it as a harvest, for example, and we don't harvest.
Hmm.
So one can say, well, I don't harvest, I don't have a crop, so I don't have to give to charity, for example, right? And we see that's how they ended up losing charity
Hmm.
altogether because they wanted to narrow it down more and more and more until like it disappeared, and we
Hmm.
lost it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the idea is anything income is anything that's according for zakat. I'm saying, right? Anything that enters your pocket that yours to keep, you have to pay charity on it.
Mm.
Because also in the if you go by the dictionary definition of income, harvest in itself is not your income, right? But
No, harvest is a business.
yeah, but I'm saying, like, you were talking about the definition in the dictionary for income, and you're
Mm.
saying the dictionary definition is different from the definition we're talking about, right? But that's not the point, right? Um, Obviously, harvest is not income if we want to get very specific on the definition. So yeah, the messenger talks about it. If you have any doubt,
No, no, yeah. I also another audio, that I am just summarizing because I also listened from the messenger that he said the why we have to give zakat because this is purify your income. It's purify your income because when you have purity, we do some mistake whatever. So when you that's the God, so that's he I heard from one audio.
yeah,
So
most of the zakat
zakat
comes
Also,
because
purify our
yeah,
income.
because most of the income that comes into your pocket is gonna be from your work, gonna be from your
yeah,
business. So that's why, yes. But that
it's
doesn't
an
mean that
addition.
you can't get it from other.
No, from
It has to
from
be,
that point
yeah.
also I was thinking, oh, zakat is not he's
Mm-hmm.
not working for someone else, he just get and because it's purified already the money, because when I pay zakat, so my money already purified, so this is the purified money. I know this is like this is that logic I was
Yeah.
I want to make clear,
Yeah.
to
It's
make
about
clear.
social justice. Let's say you have distribution of wealth, right? Let's say you live someone belongs to, let's say, a very poor village, right? You live in a very poor village. Imagine everybody in the village is poor, so poor they don't have any clothes, right? And they don't have any food to eat. They're starving, and then you end up winning something, not a lottery. It became a chance, but you end up getting some prize, or someone gives you
Inheritance. Yeah.
inheritance, right? Which
Mm.
inheritance is not income by definition, also,
Not
right?
yet.
But it's
Not yet.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So I mean, imagine how you're gonna be at that point. You're gonna keep all the money to yourself, and
Leave the
that's going,
village.
yeah, leave the village starving, and
Sorry.
so that's the whole idea behind giving to charity. It's a distribution of, well, social justice, as the messenger puts it, right? So that doesn't have to be just from your coming from your work, can be from your inheritance, it could be someone giving you a gift. But it's not for a loan or anything. It's has to be something that enters your pocket, as the master says, and he said, yours to keep.
Mhm. Okay.
Mashallah. Yeah,
And
only that example of the recording is actually sufficient enough to understand it, brother. When he clearly says that even from received zakat money, you need to pay it. Like that should also like answer all these questions
oh
about
yeah, he
income,
said like that,
right?
so that I have to like maybe I listen, maybe I forget, so that's I have to.
Yeah, it was very clear.
Yeah, when
Someone
I get,
asks
yeah,
him.
yeah. So when we have some confusion, and when I take always the messenger audio when I say, so then
Mhm,
that means so we will not understand everything. Otherwise
mhm,
God will not send the messenger. We will have some kind of idea, the
mhm,
understanding from the worldly way. So that's when the
mhm,
messenger explain. So yeah, so why I just raised the question because when I also read the footnotes, so he said net income. So I forget again. Oh, that he explained already. The
mhm,
income that means any money in your pocket. So this is your income. It's not like
mhm.
the regular explanation of income. This is the income that means any money in your pocket. This is your income. It doesn't matter
Yes,
how
mashallah.
you receive. That this is the right understanding.
Yes, mashallah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you.
Mashallah. The first thing when people receive a lot of money, they first divorce, get a new
Really?
wife, new car, a new house.
Uh-huh.
That's what they don't think about zakat, brother.
I never heard that, actually.
The first thing they do, they divorce and remarry or find some they change they change their house, their car, their wives.
Mhm.
Crazy. Yeah, it's a known thing, you know.
Weird.
um,
I mean, I never heard it works in.
no, it's as a joke, but okay, it's a known joke. So what will you do if you win the lottery? You know, the question is, and then say, yeah, I'll change my mind, buy a new one. I'm sorry. You know, in Turkish world, the Turkish people,
I hope your wife is not listening to the Quran study. She's gonna get upset.
she's hearing me.
Yeah. I
She's
was,
gonna stop you from working. You're not
yeah,
gonna go to
hopefully,
work
hopefully
starting
she didn't hear
tomorrow.
you.
Yeah.
Uh, we
Wait,
need
no
to
more
be
work for you, brother Jaffer.
we need to be good examples.
Is there any other comments or questions from anyone? So thank you all for joining us. God willing, our next English Quran study would be on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Pacific time. God bless you all. Assalamu alaikum. And thank you, Brother John, for thank you, Brother Jaffer, for leading the study. Assalamu
Thank you
alaikum.
very much, Allah. Thank you all. God bless you all.